Yo, what's good, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned. Today we have another video about some JJK Phantom Parade. I already said that I'll go over Shoko and Gojo together in like a separate video, and my breakdown of the entire live stream was like an hour long, which honestly I could have made individual videos for most of the content in that video, which I do plan to do. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, that's like my initial reaction. So that's kind of like my reaction video. Kind of how like Nanogenics does a reaction to like units, new animations and everything like that. This is my same thing. But I like to react to the entire live stream and just kind of like live in the moment. Usually I'm awake for the live streams. I missed like the first hour of this one and then woke up kind of like halfway through. But even still, I went back, rewatched it, gave my opinions and everything. Like me recording that video was like my initial responses on most of the stuff in the first hour. But either way, we are here today to talk about Green Shoko and Green Gojo, the Awakened, Honored One Gojo, whatever. I have not actually looked and translated this page just yet, but I am going to go back over their animations for their skills as well and just kind of give my speculations on what I think each character will be doing for the most part. And also I would just like to say, if you enjoy these type of videos where I do go over information like that, then you can go down below and you can leave a like. This is actually the video playing in the background of me going over the 1.5 anniversary. You can go check that video out, but you can go down below, leave a like. You can also hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man drops another bomb of information on you. And you can also comment down below and let me know how you felt about the video. But let's go ahead and get right into these kits for these characters. So this says combines buffs and recoveries, a new supporter with night characteristics. So whenever it says night, it means Yoru. So because that's what green is. Green is Yoru. So a new Yoru supporter character that buffs and recovers, literally much like the yellow Shoko that has dropped recently on the JP version, which is like one of the only characters that you really should be considering summoning for, which I'm still kind of on the fence right now trying to decide, because I understand that the Shokos are kind of like mono driven, whereas the SR Shoko is kind of like general, but she was decent, right? But like these ones are much better, but they are more focused on like mono teams. So I imagine we are going to eventually get an SSR blue Shoko and an SSR red Shoko, so that we can have a very solid healer on each individual team. That would be kind of cheesy though. Imagine Yuta with an SP buff in the future and then a red Shoko along with him to also supplement the rest of the team with more HP. It would be like an infinite healing kind of like battery type of deal. You could stack up Shoko's curse energy in the start of the mission because Yuta can handle all the healing, and then eventually when Yuta's health gets low, you can start healing with Shoko and just spam heals for a little while there. But then we look here and it says pickup point. Introducing a Yoru type buffer and healer. The buff can increase the physical abilities of Yoru type allies by up to 195%, which is insane, ridiculous. Then the special skill Hyuto Yate Hyoi can grant HP recovery, buffs, debuff deduction, and continuous damage poison reduction to allies every turn. So she looks to be just like an all-around, just like probably the best support like in the game, but it does say that her damage buff is for Yoru type characters. So it doesn't look like the characters need to be green to acquire her buffs for the HP recovery or the continuous damage reduction and all that stuff. So maybe any character can get that, but just Yoru characters get the buff to their damage, right? Then also, let me zoom out a little bit because you can't really see you can't read it anyway. Does it matter if I zoom out a little bit? I don't know. But again, a very good buffer, and honestly, we'll see a little bit more about her skills when we actually get over to the portion where we watch their skills again. I'm going to break down each one of the skills, and it doesn't really say anything about her recovering curse energy at all, which one of her skills does have a symbol for recovering curse energy, little spoiler. So I imagine that she's recovering curse energy for herself versus recovering curse energy for other characters, which even still is ridiculous. But now let's go ahead and jump over to Gojo and break down what he does in a nutshell, and then we'll go and look at the animations for all of this. Okay, so we have the Honored One Gojo here. His art looks incredible. So does Shoko's art. Shoko's art looks good, but like Gojo's looks crazy. Like this man's got his own filter. This man is in an edit right now for a picture in the gacha game. I can't believe it. But obviously another green character. You can see the Yoru at the top. Yeah, you can literally see Yoru at the top, so you know there's another green character. Introducing a high-powered Yoru type attacker. By collecting up to 8 curse cores, you can strengthen your own spells by 210%. So I'm going to imagine that the cursed cores are this new buff that shows up on Gojo's skills, right? And the buff looks kind of like a sun. It looks like a little miniature sun. So maybe that is a cursed core, and that is just something that stacks up and gives him some extra little abilities. There's a little bit more that we don't know just yet. Furthermore, during battle, by entering the I am the only one in heaven state, each skill will be greatly strengthened. And then unleash a powerful blow with a special skill, hypothetical mago, or hypothetical attack, or probably something like that, or hypothetical technique, or imaginary technique, probably. But basically, this Gojo, we're gonna jump over to the videos before I even start the breakdown. This Gojo, does not have a turn counter on him, an urgent business counter on him at all, so he stays out for the entire duration of the fight. So that is a very big bonus. Any young Gojo pretty much just does not have a turn counter, which is kind of insane to think about because young Gojos are still super busted in the game anyway. It's just that their damage is kind of dialed down a tiny bit, right? But they work in an interesting way. Now, this is definitely by far the most interesting Gojo I have seen. Basically what they were explaining, right? I'm guessing that this right here is the cursed core because that's the only thing that looks like a brand new buff that I've never seen on another character. You can see right here that Gojo has attack prevention on like the first turn right here. I think he has it for 2 turns or something like that, right? Has his attack prevention per usual. I think he has it for the first 2 turns instead of the entire fight. But you can see right here, if he dies, he does resurrect. I don't know how much HP he comes back with if he resurrects because I don't know that resurrection guarantees a full heal. But still, he does revive if he dies. Now, this skill right here is a single target skill. It is a debuff skill. It probably decreases the damage that an enemy is dealing to your team. Then right here, this one has that weird special little buff, which I'm going to imagine, which I'm going to assume is the cursed core. Then right here, you can see this buff skill, which is him like screaming. So you know that's him like, I am the one in heaven. I am the 101, right? That one right there boosts your ultimate gauge increase rate, which is crazy to think about because all this costs 1 per usual. And then you can see right here his ultimate also boosts your ultimate gauge fill rate. So it's almost as if they want you to spam this man's ultimate, which is one reason why I think he's going to be a really revolutionary damage dealer for green characters. I was very happy to see this Gojo be the one that comes around and replaces the first Gojo, or the first green Gojo, because the first green Gojo, while he is very good, yes, and does a lot of damage, he is the most restrictive Gojo by far out of any of them. He literally disappears once he does his ultimate, whereas the blue one disappears after 7 turns and can do his ultimate 2 times if you play it right. And the red one, the new one, can literally just he can extend how long he's out by using his ultimate, and then, you know, the yellow one just has no turn counter, the young one, right? So now we have our secondary young Gojo here, who is also going to be an insane damage dealer, but I think that he's going to work a lot better than the yellow Gojo, right? I don't know, I just feel it. Plus, he's the brand new Gojo. With the level of content that we have in the game right now, he's the brand new Gojo, so he's obviously going to be stronger. He's probably going to have a crazier impact on the game. Maybe the impact will be the same. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Do you think that this Gojo's impact will be much crazier on the game than the yellow Gojo because we have much more content out? Or do you think their impacts will be like proportionally equal, you know, compared to what time they came out in the game? Because I'm not gonna lie, once I got my hands on yellow Gojo, like, a lot of content became way easier for the Deadman. But we will continue on. I'm not gonna yap forever. I do want y'all to see these animations. Also, why is this not all the way up to 1080p? Come on now, computer. But yes. So let's continue on. I have it muted because you never know when they're going to play some copyrighted music. So Gojo's using his buff skill. They're using the basic old Geto right here. We're kind of talking about characters in unison here because literally they're showing them both at the same time. So you can see Shoko right here. She does have her first skill, which costs no cursed energy, which is super crazy. First skill costs no cursed energy. If she uses it, she increases, I'm guessing, just her cursed energy, which just allows her to stack her cursed energy much faster, which is always really good because that means you're always going to have the capability to do healing moves. They're starting to really be smart about how they're making these characters. Then you can see right here, she has a buff, like she has like a little phone, and I've already watched this. She literally does pick up the phone, kind of like Blue Momo does, right? I think Blue Momo or Green Momo? Blue Momo, I believe. But she has a little buff where she like picks up her phone, and it looks like the buff is a Jujutsu and Taijutsu buff. And it gives one of the allies a hidden like buff so they can't be attacked or targeted, right? But I'm thinking maybe her heals are for everybody, and it gives buffs because that looks like HP recovery versus just like healing straight up. Unless the symbol for healing is that, and I'm just geeking out. Hold on, let me pull up Blue Shoko just to make sure, because if this is AoE, or not AoE, but not DOT, but HOT, so healing over time versus just healing for the turn, then that's actually really crazy. Yeah, as I suspected, it is a little bit different, because if you look at the original Shoko's skill right here, you can see that the heart on her skill actually only has 2 little sparkles on it, which means that it heals a specific ally or a group of allies, but it just does that one heal that one time right there in the turn. Whereas this Shoko's little heal animation has 2 little sparkles at the top and then 3 more little sparkles at the bottom, very similar to how the cursed energy recovery symbol is. So this looks like it's probably going to be a healing over time type of buff, which is actually really crazy. But I'm thinking the heal over time probably works for everybody, and then this skill right here gives a specific buff if everybody's green, and then if everybody's not green, whoever's not green gets a different type of buff, or maybe a lesser buff or something like that. But let's let it play so we can see the skill animations here. So you can see Gojo just buff himself up, boost his ultimate gauge fill rate. That actually filled his ultimate quite a bit right there. Shoko's gonna do her little phone call. I'm pretty sure that right there is taijutsu, jujutsu, and then, you know, everybody's getting that buff. So everybody, probably just because everybody's a green character. So Shoko probably automatically gets the buff because she is a green character. That's probably what's happening here. And I'm making speculations on this. This is not 100% confirmed. I'm just taking a wild guess as to how these characters are working, just based off of what we read there and how we're seeing their kits working. Like, mono green is like looking just disgusting right now, right? But you can see right there also somebody got the hidden buff, which is like enemies cannot target them. So we continue on. And I'm kind of just, I don't want to skip any of the like animations or anything. I just want to let it play, you know, as it is. Now, one thing that I will say about this Gojo is, just like every other Gojo, these first 2 skills right here are single target skills. They typically are on Gojos, except for Domain Expansion Gojo, of course. He has his AoE skill 2. Yes, skill 2. Right? These 2 are single target, but I believe this one stacks up your curse cores or whatever that translation was supposed to be. Then this right here is a debuff, correct? Then this right here is the buff. Once you get his buff all the way up and he enters the Honored One mode, which you're going to see, they're going to skip ahead to it in a little bit. Once he enters that buff, these 2 skills will change, and this one will become an AoE skill that is like a range skill. I think this one is a close range skill right now, a melee skill, but it eventually becomes a ranged skill after Gojo enters the Honored One state. I don't know what this one changes into. They didn't reveal what this one looks like, but you can use Gojo's ultimate in the Honored One state. I don't think his ultimate changes at all depending on what state you are in. Maybe the effects of it change, but the animation itself does not change. But we continue. So Gojo's going to use his skill 1 or skill 2. And then Shoko's going to give another buff. Good animations, of course, it's a Gojo, so he absolutely obliterated that man. And now you can see he has 2 cursed cores right here. And I don't know that it says the cursed cores. I'm just assuming that those are the cursed cores now. I don't know that it says the cursed cores actually disappear over like a certain amount of turns, right? I think maybe you can just stack the cursed cores up the entire duration of the fight, and then eventually they just become cleared off once you do whatever the big 8 core stack effect is, right? But now you can see here Gojo's cursed energy is actually full, and he's actually about to just do his ultimate, or not his ultimate, he's about to do his skill 3, but his skill 3 has changed, so now his skill 3 can consume his entire ultimate gauge instead of him doing his ultimate. So actually maybe you have to become the Honored One to do his ultimate. Maybe that is why both of these skills keep boosting his ultimate gauge fill rate. So as soon as he becomes the Honored One, then he can just boost up to the Hollow Purple right after, or Imaginary Technique and blast it off, right? But we're going to see Gojo do his buff here. The animations are incredible on this, by the way, guys. And then you're going to see Shoko's... Good, we're going to see Shoko's skill 1. So of course, that looks amazing. But now we're going to see Shoko's skill 1 and see who gets the cursed energy recovery. So Shoko lost 5 cursed energy on that just now. 10. And then she gained 5 cursed energy on that actually. So yes, whenever Shoko does her skill 1, she gains an extra 5 curse energy. We just saw it here. That's pretty cracked, actually. Those heals are going to be non-stop, never-ending, bro. So now Gojo is going to do his buff again while he is in the Honored One state. But now he has a counter, and then I'm imagining that's a damage dealt. I think the sword in the little pentagon, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the sword in the pentagon is damage dealt specifically. If it was Jujutsu or Taijutsu, it would have like the kanji or kana or whatever, right? But I'm pretty sure that is just damage dealt increase and then a counter attack. How long the counter attack is, I'm not 100%. They're specifically not holding the skills so that you don't know the durations of the skills or anything like that. But you can see here, Gojo has a crazy looking counter where he just flies behind you and blasts you in the back of your head with a red. And another very nice touch on that. That just gave him another stack of cursed core. I'm pretty sure. Yep, right there. Boom. Another cursed core. So now he has 3. So it looks like maybe they don't go away because it's been 6 turns and he still has the first 2 stacks of it. Dude, just going in and breaking it down, you know, bit by bit, you really can learn a lot about the characters' kits before they even drop, right? So the reason why I said Gojo can get up to 210% extra percent damage if he gets 8 curse cores, he probably gets a certain amount of damage per curse core that is stacked on him, and then it probably all around equals up to like 210% after you get whatever skill gives him the curse cores to level 10, right? Probably it stacks up all around 8 times to 210% or something like that, of that nature. Then afterwards, maybe Gojo does his like ultimate, uses up all of his cursed cores, and like he has to restart the damage modifier again or something like that. Speculation. Shoko probably gives allies a 195% attack boost because her buff skill probably stacks up to like 4 turns or something like that, and once you get it stacked up on that many turns, if you get it to level 10, it probably equals out to like 195% extra damage or something like that. That's probably what they're saying here. Let's continue on. So we're about to see Gojo's ultimate, which Gojo is still in the Honored One status. So it seems to me, once Gojo enters the Honored One status, I guess he doesn't leave that state until he uses his ultimate. So let's see. Because Shoko's gonna do her ultimate, which is going to give everybody healing over time. Yes, it gave them a buff instead of just healing them. So it did heal them directly, but then it gave them a little buff that looks like healing over time. And then Gojo's ultimate is a single target. So this is the first Gojo whose ultimate is a single target, but I imagine since that is a cutback and it is single target, I imagine they're going to be able to make the damage very similar to like the original Hollow Purple Gojo. I'm very interested to see what his damage percents look like whenever he does finally drop. And Shoko's skill do look like they heal on the point of initial impact and also afterwards like a DOT or HOT type of thing. But if you guys did enjoy this video, found it helpful, or it kind of got the cogs turning for you, for like, damn, how are these characters gonna work, right? I don't know what their passive skills are gonna look like at all, but I imagine they're gonna be incredible. I imagine Mono Green is probably gonna be like the team on top, which I consider Mono. I consider either Mono Yellow or Mono Red for the team on top, because I feel like Mono Red has a lot of options, like in the bargain area, you know, like Red Inamaki or Hanami or SR Yaga or SR Nanami, right? I feel like Red has a lot of cheap options that you can get your hands on very easily or in a very free-to-play manner, and they will be very useful for your account no matter where you're at, right? Wherever your progression is, because if you have Hanami, you can cheese certain things. If you have Inamaki, you can also cheese certain things. If you have Yaga or Nanami, they're going to be good buffers for you till the day the game goes out of service, probably. But either way, Yellow has not maybe as many options as Red, but the options that you do have access to, if you do have those premium options, they are very strong, right? So I think maybe Mono Green might become the top team after this, probably, considering that they'll have like one of the greatest healers in the game, which there's 3 healers in the game. They have one of the best DPS in the game, one of the most interesting DPS in the game, and it'll probably work really well in long-term content just because you keep stacking up those cores over and over again. Then, you know, you're gonna have a crazy debuff for Geto, right? And, you know, whenever he gets his SP buff, he could look really, really crazy. You have Gakuganji. Unironically, I still use Green SR Momo. That's not a sign for you to go work on Green SR Momo, but I still do use her. If you ever need to stall anything, Mahito, like we got some solid options at this point for every color. I feel like blue is still a little limited. I feel like blue is like that. I feel like blue is that category where like you gotta have ooh, Green Megumi. My bad, I forgot about him. But I feel like blue is kind of like that category where like you had to summon for a bunch of premium characters to get it. Like there's not a lot of roundabout ways you can do it. Like Blue Gojo is kind of like Blue Gojo at this point. Megumi for Shiguro, Blue, no, not doing that. Blue Kamo, like be serious. Blue Nanami, like it's Blue Yuji even like you have to get Sukuna, right? At this point you gotta get Sukuna. You gotta have Geto, bro. Geto, like Geto, I can't believe I missed him. I can't believe it to this day. Like I hate so much that I don't have him. But I mean, I feel like Blue is still very, very hard struggling right now. Jogo, his SP buff is decent, but that's besides the point. That's another video. That's another ramble session, another yap session. That's your boy DEADMANVINCE. I hope that you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, go down below and leave a like on the video. You can also subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the Dead Man taps in and hits this content. And you can also comment down below and let me know what you do and do not like. The Dead Man will listen to you if you're reasonable. But you guys have an excellent day. The Dead Man loves you. Peace out.